So I'll be starting the webinar as we have. So as we kind of continue on, when people join in, feel free to join in. During the webinar, you do have a question and answer area, which you could post your questions during the webinar. And if during the time I am able to answer them, I will do that. And if not, then towards the end of the webinar, we'll have some time over there to have a Q&A portion to go over any kind of questions or outstanding items to repeat or even to cover. So again, I'm just going to start with a quick introduction, the agenda that we're going to be going over, and jumping into the live demo. So just a quick introduction about myself. My name is Patrick Siemek. I am a technical consultant for the BIM AEC team with SolidCAD Solutions. I am an Autodesk certified professional in the Revit software. What I do is I provide training and technical support for Revit, Recap, and any other AEC related products. Also as a company and also as a team member, I drive to help and develop concrete BIM AEC workflows. SolidCAD. So what SolidCAD is, we are a software reseller along with professional services. We work with many different types of industries, from architecture, engineering, construction, infrastructure, manufacturing, and plant. So what we do, we help design firms, constructors, and owners implement technology and optimize workflows. So from the design side to design creation and data accuracy, from the managing side, from industry standards, the conference to industry protocols, and sharing, collaborate and coordination in between projects, and communication and delivery. Some of the other products that we resell, as we can see, there's a large list from the design, manage, and share areas. So again, we have from Autodesk products, Leica, Bluebeam, and the one we are going to be looking at today is going to be the Autodesk Revit, along with a CTC productivity pack. So CTC MEPP3 or MEPPP, what that is, it is called the Mechanical, Electrical, Plumbing Productivity Pack. So what is the MEP3? It is a premier content pack that was specifically designed for companies who are designing and working in both the mechanical and electrical disciplines. What comes with the MEP3? So within the MEP3, you get a starter/template project, a sample project, so again, already completed one showing you all the different items that are part of the pack, a large family library, and any other supporting files needed. What is the purpose of this webinar? To overview the content from the MEP3. Is the MEP3 a good solution for your firm? Where to get more information, and also a Q&A. So with that kind of said, we're going to already jump into the live webinar. So the MEP3, what is the MEP3? As previously mentioned, it is a content pack, and it has been specifically created to coordinate data in a Revit building information model, or BIM, and streamline the process of building a complete model with associated construction documents for mechanical and electrical disciplines. So what comes within the MEP3 pack? So again, first you are able to get a full pack which has the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing side. You could also split it up between mechanical and electrical. All of those different items do work together, and they talk to each other within the data information, from views to schedules, and all the information being pushed in and out from your options. So within the pack itself, what you are going to have, if I just share my screen here. So within the pack itself, you do get a project file with all the content loaded in. So from here, we just have a starter project, which, as we could see already, has been preset. So what the productivity pack is, it is content that has been created for you to not have to recreate. It has been organized in a certain way to have a specific kind of workflow for the ease of design and also to the construction documentation. So kind of just driving in a little bit further into what we have inside of this pack. So as I have here, the starter project in the project browser, we already have some predefined views. So again, the way that the views are being set up are by the classifications. So you are able to have specifically all the disciplines. So again, by changing the project browser, we could always specify just a specific one: electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and mechanical. Within those views, once they are set up, we also are driven to specific view types. We have an analysis view, construction documents view, which in the end, these will be the final views that you place onto your sheets. Coordination, as it has within the wording itself. Project setup, so when you start a project, we have all of those areas here, and our working views. Also within the pack, you have a lot of content that has been loaded in. So again, we have already preset views for us to work with. Sheets have also been organized and designed for us to work with. So inside of this starter project view, as we have, if I kind of just jump right into the project setup, which we won't go into too much detail today, but as we could see, views have already been set up with multiple scope boxes, sections, to help the quick and easy production of a project. So when a new user comes in, they use the starter project, a lot of the content is already loaded in. You start running through your project setup area, which you will get a user manual to see step-by-step exactly how to create some items. And then with a couple quick, easy steps and managing the links, you can get your project up and running in a matter of minutes in regards to your project here. So as we can see, a lot of views have been already created for us in the project setup area. From project setup, once we have that all done, we then have working views, which here we do all the working. You do all your modeling as needed. Once those working views are completed, we have our construction documents. So again, this is just a project starter template, which it is not a native Revit template. It's an actual project, which there are work sets already enabled, giving you that ability to help coordinate within your project itself and also utilize the work sets to help manage and organize the project moving forward. Inside of the pack also, we're going to see many different families, which we'll go over. So again, here we can see a view with a lot of the families already laid out for us to see, to modify, to manage, and to kind of remove which ones we need, which ones we do not. So from the MEP productivity pack, if I kind of just get out of this one, which is just a starter, I'm going to jump into a sample project. So very similar to what we just saw before with that starter project template, here I have a sample project. As previously shown, we do have the project browser and organization, which we could specify directly to disciplines. So again, working in the same model with all different disciplines will allow for easy data exchange. Going down the different types of views, in our analysis views, if I start expanding these areas and I go to my floor plans, here we can see it's already being organized based off of the different systems that we are working with. So we have our mechanical, which is the HVAC, mechanical piping and plumbing, and we also have our lighting. Within these analysis views, if I start to expand them, they have been developed using specific view templates along with few color fill legends to help the ease of understanding what exactly has been done within the project and also figuring out any disconnections or where things are flowing or not. In this example where I have the HVAC duct flow diagram, we can start to see there is a color legend showing us that red is no flow, blue is 5 CFM or more, and a quick indication just by looking at our systems, everything looks like there is a flow going through. At the ends of the runs, that's where there's going to be no flow. But as we can see, there is a quick connection between all of our systems. This can be driven towards more areas as we could have friction loss for HVAC, also velocity. On the plumbing side, we also have other types of analytical views that we could use, specifically just from the content and the parameters that have been created and utilized within our project. Lighting also has an analysis view. So by opening up our lighting area, here we can start to see, again, a color fill legend based off of the foot candle information that has been produced within the project itself. So again, having a legend showing us the different values and ranges. And with that shown, we can start to see the different areas based off of the different lighting fixtures and items being produced with that content. So again, using the analysis views to help you verify the systems that are being designed within your project. Working down the list in our views. So again, with analysis views, we then have construction documents. So construction documents, all the views here are to be intended to be placed onto sheets. If I start to expand a few of these, as we can see again, the way that the project has been organized is based off of what classification are our views, then what type of view is it, and what type of system does it belong to. Going into our HVAC area and to our floor plan. Here we can see that this would be a completed document and view that we place onto a sheet. By zooming into here, we can start to see all our different elements from our ducting to air terminals to our mechanical equipment, along with our specific tags. Every single view inside of your project that we're going to be using in the MEPP3 will have a designated view template. So again, graphically, things will be turned on and turned off for that view to be specifically as how it should show. As an example, right now on the HVAC floor plan, we can start to see primarily our HVAC systems, along with some of our lighting categories in the background, but as they are dashed, half-toned, and gray. So again, different view templates that have been already created for us, that all we need to do is work in the working drawing, apply the view template, and it starts to graphically show everything as needed. So with our construction document views, working down the line, if I kind of jump to my plumbing area, once again, we'll start to see, just like we had our HVAC plan, in our plumbing plan, start to see graphically how our views will show once they are placed onto a sheet. So again, throughout this whole pack, all of this content is already predefined from setup of the views and the naming conventions. All of the construction documents which are placed onto a sheet, they do have in your properties already a view template. So again, from your analysis views to your construction documents, and once we work our way through coordination, project setup, and working, inside of the MEP pack, we will notice that there are many, many different types of view templates. The pack has already been created by several users. Many man hours have been put in to develop this, and with also industry expertise. So here we can see a large list of many different types of view templates, depending on the scenario of that view. From our demolition views to our specific systems, let it be electrical lighting, electrical power, M for mechanical, MP for mechanical piping, and P for plumbing. So a lot of these have already been established, created for you. So again, once you purchase the pack, there is no need for you to recreate all of this. You can modify it, but it's already there for you to use. Working with our other construction document views, I kind of work my way to one of the electrical sides. We can start to see also similar to the mechanical side, within the electrical area, we start to see our views being complete with our content. So again, construction documents are going to be where you have your views intended to be placed onto sheets. Along with your model views inside of the construction documents, you will also have a large list of drafting views. So again, these are going to be your details that you do place onto a sheet. Inside of the pack, there have been many, many details already created for the pack, from the electrical to the mechanical side. These could always be modified per project and utilized within your drawing set. So if we start seeing a couple of these examples, here, as we can see underneath HVAC, we have many, many different types of detail views that can be used within our projects. Again, already used by a standard within the industry, but always can be modified as needed. So again, these drafting views, all they are is line work with our annotations from our text to our different elements being placed for that detailed view. So many different detail views that can be associated with our projects, from mechanical, and we also have our electrical. So again, a lot of detail items that can be associated back to your construction documentation. Moving down the list, coordination, as it kind of sounds. If you are coordinating, maybe you need to export your model. Inside of these coordination views, there are going to be specific view types already for, as we have an example here, for slab penetrations. So again, views can be created specifically for the ease of exporting and coordinating with other models. So again, view templates have been already set up within these specific types of views. Project setup. So as previously mentioned, when you purchase this productivity pack, you will be given a starter project / template. So again, the template file that you are provided is an actual project. It already is initialized as a work sharing file. So within that work sharing file, you have the ability to already have preset work sets, which have already been identified within this pack. By looking at the different work sets, you can start to see they already have been initialized specifically for links and also for different system types. Once I start going in depth more into the working areas, you can start to see by identifying and using the work sets, specific view templates drive graphically how things will show. Again, for the option of having things to easily turn on and off during the creation of the project, but also identifying if we are in the correct areas and you are modeling in the correct spaces. This is also a great indicator, utilizing your view templates, which have work sets already driven based off of those. The project setup view, as previously mentioned, it is going to be views set up for the project once you start early off in the stages. So by jumping into my project setup 01, as we can see here, we have a scope box. So again, all of the views from the construction documents list that we have at the top from level 1 or level 2 inside of this sample project that we have, they're all driven off of scope boxes. So again, scope boxes give you the ability to keep everything consistent based off of the cropping area within your project themselves. Other types of scope boxes can also be made specifically for mechanical rooms, electrical rooms. So again, scope boxes will drive views to keep the consistency of the cropping areas. Within these views too, there's already predefined sections. So again, you don't have to recreate these over and over per project. It's just a quick and easy way to have already something at your fingertips. And all you're really doing is linking in the project for the quick startup of that. And the final view type we have is working views. So again, this is where all the modeling is done. So again, you work and you model inside of here. View templates inside of these working views have already been created to help show if things have been placed correctly in the right areas. So an example of this one, if I start expanding where my working views are, and I go into my HVAC working plan, as previously mentioned, here we have our working view. Just even by zooming in, if I start going near where one of my duct systems are, I could see in the background, I still see pipes. So the reason for having this inside of my working view is for coordination. So you can see where pipes have already been laid out. So when I am placing in ducting or air terminals, even if there are any lighting areas, I could easily coordinate within my system itself for the correct construction of the model. Speaking of the view templates and also the work sets, this is also driving you when you are in a working view. If I come into an area and I start working within my HVAC plan, but I'm on the wrong work set. So if I just type in plumbing and I try to draw in a duct. So even though I am drawing in a duct, which is part of the HVAC category, we'll start to see the duct to show up, but it already indicates strictly by showing the visibility and graphics of that ducting that it does not belong on that correct work set. So again, having these working views with the view template already applied to these views helps the ease of understanding have you placed the elements on the correct view and also work set. So by seeing this with a duct being on the wrong work set itself, if we just easily select the items and we change the work set that I have been working on, you will then start to see graphically your elements start to show in a different graphic. Also, having your work set set to the correct area will help the ease of the construction and modeling understanding where everything has been placed within your views. Same thing goes for with all the other systems. You start to work in a lighting system. I'll go actually power here. So I'm going to do the power system. As we start to see here, we see many different types of power items. Also, we start to see in dashed lines, let it be the lighting fixtures. So another great indication within our working views here, especially for the electrical side, is we have the color coding. So within the color coding, here we can see magenta. I can see some receptacles that are green, some that are magenta, and in this case, nothing is red. So using these working views, it's a great indication of what has been circuited, what has not been circuited, and then also what has been circuited and actually applied to a panel. Your green items within the electrical side, if they are green, that means they have been created as part of a system. They've been circuited along with being assigned to a panel. So that's where we have the green indication. Your magenta colors, these are elements that have been circuited but not applied to a panel itself. So again, another indication of what has been actually done within that item. And finally, there would be a red color, which if I just give this one a go here, first we want to make sure we're on the correct work set. And coming into my view, placing my item, you'll then see the item turn red, indicating that it has not been part of a system or circuited, and definitely there is no panel that has been associated with that specific item. So again, inside of this productivity pack, many different views are already set up utilizing your project setup view areas with the scope boxes. From those views, they're being driven to our working views, construction documents, analysis views. So again, keeping all the same areas using the scope boxes. With our views already in place from the construction documents, we do have sheets. So again, there's already a predefined level of sheets. So inside of this sample project, we're going to see again the different ways that you could organize your sheets based off electrical, fire protection, mechanical, or plumbing. You are able, just like having your views based off a specific discipline, same thing will happen in the sheets area. Expanding my sheets, we'll start to see many different sheets already pre-set. So in the sample project, once you start creating a project, you are initialized with 10 levels, and then you could remove whichever ones you don't need or add additional levels to your project. Along with that sample project, you do already have a list of sheets. Those starting views or project setup views that you work, and then they are driven to your construction documents, those views have already been placed onto sheets. So when a project starts, you just set up the scope boxes, you start working in the working views, annotate in the construction document views, and then finally, once you go back to your sheet, those views have already been placed based off of the location of your project. So as we have here, we got our sheet in place with a title block, having our viewport in the middle, which was our construction document view, and a couple schedules that come along with our item. So again, by seeing this productivity pack is everything has already been set up for you, which you just start to work and set up the project, and moving forward, everything is always being driven back to a specific area, especially with views and keeping the consistency from view to view. Different types of sheets. If I start expanding electrical, you'll start to see also another sheet list. Along with the sheet list, you do have your title sheets. So inside of each system's title sheet, you'll start to see large symbols for us to kind of review or to see what is part of the project. These symbols are already preset for you. So again, no need to create the content. The content's already there for you to use. Modifications can be done to the content, which we'll be going through a little bit later. But again, having that title sheet is already one step ahead of creating a new one from project to project. So again, opening up our different sheets as we have in place, you'll already see views being applied and assembled specifically to those sheets. Along with your sheets, you could always import and load your own title block families. But by selecting a title block that's in place, many different sheets or title blocks have been created, different sizes that can be modified and utilized within the project environment. Again, all depends on the project that you're working with, but there's already predefined content, as we can see here, many title blocks that can be modified or utilized within your own project. So we start to have those ones in here. Along with the sheets, we're going to have schedules. So again, you have your typical views that you work with from the construction document side, but with those, associating them with our schedules. Once again, schedules are driven by specific disciplines or systems. So here we can see there is an electrical side, mechanical side. MEP would be a general side of your schedules. So by expanding these schedules, we can start to see different ones that have been already created for us. There's going to be a mixture of schedules. There's going to be design schedules along with construction document schedules. So you have different ones that you could utilize to help design within your project, but then other ones just to specify exactly what is in your project. An example of a design schedule can be my space schedule. So from here, we can start to see already a list of different spaces within the project and verifying the different information that has been input within the project itself. So once you have a grasp of having the schedules or some of the items in place, we could then go to more specific areas for the schedules. So if I expand my mechanical and I look underneath HVAC, here we can see again, different areas and different organization of different types of schedules in our project. So again, as mentioned, you do have design schedules. So within these design schedules, if I start expanding one of these, you start to see schedules with many different types of parameters. So one thing about the pack is there was a large shared parameter created. There's a lot of auto sizing and calculations done within the pack itself that does not come natively from Revit. So a lot of work has been put in based off of industry standards to get specific values being placed within your project itself. As we can see here within the schedule, it is color coded. As we have the dark gray columns, that's already calculated by the system or the project itself. Anything that we see blue, that is an input value. You can override specific parameters of a family. An example here, we have a VAV box. By default, Revit is trying to size it based off of a calculation that it has within the flow of the air terminals. An end user can always override that simply by using this design schedule, typing in a new value, and it will override that size. Green is just, once again, an input schedule that needs to be done or inputted within those values. So again, blue will do an override, green is just a input, and then red is going to be kind of a indication of where things are being calculated from. And green is just the values coming directly from Revit itself. So along with these schedules, as we have here, so from the design side, we also have specific equipment schedules. So again, every single family or part of a content that's inside of this library has a schedule already designed for it. So once again, no need to create these schedules. They're here for you to use and to have within the project. So again, just sticking with that VAV, from this design schedule, as we just saw from here, I come into this schedule, still the same information, but then it is presented differently with not showing the design side, anything that has been overridden or pre-calculated using different values. This would be your final construction document schedule that gets placed onto a sheet. So again, multiple types of schedules from construction to design can be utilized within the pack. And here, not only for the mechanical side, but also large list for the electrical. Along with the electrical schedules, as we kind of have here, so again, we could do a fixture schedule. They have already been set up and laid out with different parameters associating to the lighting fixtures themselves. So again, both mechanical and electrical schedules available for you to use, to modify, or to remove, even if they're not being used within the content of your project. With those final schedules, you do have panel schedules. So again, multiple panel schedules that can be created. There are multiple panel templates. So again, many different templates that can be modified and used within the project itself. So again, a lot of predefined content created, not much needed to be modified. A lot of it is already based off of industry standards for anyone to use. So let's get in some depth into the content that we actually have within the pack itself. So by looking in our construction document views, and if I click into my symbols, and I'll start off with, say, electrical symbols. So again, many families have been created in regards to your MEP pack. So by looking inside of here, we got abbreviations, but then we also have our electrical symbols legend. There is a dynamic legend. So again, these are actual real elements placed within the project environment. And again, any updates to it, it will update inside of your schedule and your sheets. So if I kind of take a closer look to my lighting fixture as we have here, a lot of the content has also been thought out in regards to standards, but also for the ease of family usage inside of a project. What I mean by that is, if I select one of these families that I have here, and I check the type of family that it is a rectangular ceiling floor family. The family that I have slightly below it, when I select it, it is the same type of family. A lot of the content that has been created is very smart, very intelligent in regards to the parameters that it's using. A lot of things to turn on, to turn off. So example for this, if I select this rectangular item, here we can still see all the instance parameters associated to that family. But if I select edit type, inside of this edit type area, we could see there are many different types of parameters that have been created for the ease and customization of your families. At the very top, graphics. You can see I could start selecting and changing graphically how a lighting fixture would show. If I needed a strip lighting fixture, I could easily duplicate a family, modify a few of these parameters, as we can see strip fixture symbol. I could turn that item on, and then it'll start to change into that strip fixture item. Fixture lengths, fixture widths. So again, you have the dimensions of the actual families themselves that can be modified. So instead of loading in a family directly from another manufacturer's website, so again, that is always the issue that everyone may have. You want to download a specific content from a manufacturer. The information that they have input into their families does not read or send out properly to your own project. So utilizing the content inside of this productivity pack gives you that attachment from parameter to parameter. You just update the content inside of the pack. It will update properly to all of your schedules. So again, many different parameters that you could update and change in regards to the content that you need to be created. So that would be one example of a lighting fixture. Your electrical fixtures. So again, we have smart elements. What I mean by this is if I select one of these fixtures, you'll notice there's pull bars. So again, graphically, how do you show a symbol or fixtures that are placed one on top of another? It's a little bit difficult. These families, how they've been created already is with the ability to move graphically the symbol, but the actual item is still in its original spot. So again, electrical fixtures do have the ability to move the symbology, but where it's actually placed in the real world or in the 3D geometry of the project, that can then just be in place, but all you're actually moving in the view itself is the actual symbol there. Again, a lot of great content that you could already have, as we could see here, from lighting fixtures, electrical fixtures, fire devices, nurse calls. So a lot of content already pre-defined and created. If I jump into my HVAC area, once again, based off of some industry standards, we do have already content created for us. from the different types of duct systems, different duct types. So again, from your exhaust, supply to return, and then specific types. Moving along into your pipes. So again, many different pipe systems already created for you, graphically with colors, but also specific line types depending on the system that you are working with. Many tags are already created. So again, different tags will call out different information. As we can see from here, a couple of these air terminal tags. One will just show the air terminal type, flow, neck size, and the face of the item. As another one will start to show more or less information. So multiple tags have been created for the mechanical and electrical content for you to utilize and to manipulate or to show differently within your projects. So you have many different tags already in place. Symbology, so as we kind of have here, say for pipe accessory tags, you do have already symbology part of these items inside of your projects. Those could always be customized also with the ease of just using different parameters, turning certain line weights on and off, which is a part of the pack itself. So again, met a lot of different content that can be associated to your projects. But diving down a little bit more deeper into the actual content itself, if I go to one of my working HVAC views. So Revit out of the box does a lot of great stuff, but it doesn't go too in depth into say auto sizing or auto calculating. An example of this would be, as I have over here, a system. Let me just take this out of here. And I'm going to copy it outside of my view. Oh, so there is the wrong work set that I just used. Which is fine. We could bring that back over. So a lot of the great features I have here is the content that has been created. A lot of it is smart content. One of the examples that I am going to use over here is the change of your VAV units. So by selecting a VAV unit and I look into my properties here on the left, I could see that the unit, based off of the calculation that is getting of the airflow from the air terminals, is driving a neck size value of 5. So again, inside of the content or inside of the families, there's a lot of information, a lot of tables that have been designed based off of actual industry standards that drive the functionality. So if I were to have this VAV unit and I select my air terminals and I change the CFM values. So initially I had a 5-inch neck size. By changing my air terminals, having a full connected system, and now selecting that VAV unit, I could see it actually automatically resized it to a 7-inch neck. So Revit doesn't know that natively. This content that has been created in regards to, say, this VAV equipment as an example, will actually do an auto resizing. There's message centers in regards to the different content. So right here, message center, selection is valid. So that means that type of item that I have sized or had it automatically sized is a valid selection. Another kind of indication of have you selected the right content? Is it something that is able to be created? Using the air terminal as an example. When I select an air terminal and I look to my properties, here I even see lay-in sizing instructions, available sizes. For a 24 by 24, I could have a 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 15 inch. If I override that neck size, so again, here's a default neck size, but then neck size input. You are always, or you have the ability to override certain parameters within this MEPP3 pack. So if I change my neck size to not be one of these sizes that were there, but it'd be 7 inches, graphically, you'll start to see some type of face appear, like a little Medusa. This already indicates to you that you have input a value that does not correspond correctly to the calculations of the tables that are part of that family. So by selecting this item here, you even have, once again, a message center. No family type found, revised neck size or module size selection. So again, there's a lot of good indicators within this pack that help the ease of designing your projects with many different shared parameters and calculations done in the background. But when you're replacing them and modifying them, you will then see the options or the validation of if something is correct or not. Again, we could always change that back to a value of 0, which reverts itself back to its original next size. And now we have a correct item in place. So a lot of different great indications that you could have within your families, showing a message center and showing the different ways that they are being created. Within the content itself, looking at plumbing as an example. So within the plumbing pack, natively in Revit, what you would be doing is you'd be placing in an actual plumbing fixture. So again, as we have a water closet here, and within that water closet being in place, it's going to have that 3D geometry, so the actual toilet itself, and any connectors that are associated with it. Inside of the productivity pack, the workflow inside of here is you still have a plumbing fixture family, but it is only a family with connectors. So if I try to place, or if I show a plumbing fixture family, here's a plumbing fixture family that I've selected. If I look to my properties, what is it? It is a domestic fixture as a cold, hot water, and waste connection point. And it's specifically for a laboratory wall-hung ADA standard. So all I'm identifying over here is just the actual connection points. The architectural model link in the background will identify the geometry, but on my end, for the mechanical side, all I really want is the connection points. So again, we can see that this family will have just the only connectors needed for me to have a full system. A lot of the families on the mechanical side, how they are driven off of a mechanical configurator. What that means is if I were to select one of these families and look in the properties, you have the control of moving your different connections. So it's kind of created based off of a Cartesian arm, meaning that I can move any connector in an X, Y, or Z direction. Not all fixtures are the same. So from fixture to fixture, if you need something to be unique, you can then always modify any of these properties. So if I have this cold water pipe and I'm going to actually need it to be modified to be slightly to the left, you could always change that property and you'll see the pipe connector moves. So again, you do have the ability to still control the connection points to where they are going to be placed within your project. So again, if you do have a specific lavatory fixture or a water closet, and then again, if you want them to be in the proper locations where the connections are, those could then just be modified off of those families. Along with these plumbing fixture connections and the families that are being used, there's already a lot of preset, say, standards. So if I have a back-to-back wall-hung plumbing system, instead of recreating all of this piping that we see from here, inside of the productivity pack, there are groups that have been created and developed based off of industry standards once again. That if I have a wall-hung, as we can see here, water closet, wall-hung, ADA standard, back-to-back, if I just drag this just outside of my washroom, here we can start to see it already has been created for me. If I select maybe another one, wall hung, this one is going to be just normal, not the ADA standard. I could easily start to align these together. Position them where they need to be. Your groups, they come with details already attached to them. Tags have been applied to them for you to speed up the process of, say, annotating. Again, we could always add these annotations as needed. Once you start to align your groups to the correct locations, maybe where your fixtures are. So again, if I'm just gonna, as an example, just move it up slightly here and say that is a location where my fixtures will be located in my project, we can then always quickly ungroup our items and to create a system, we could quickly use our connecting tools. And as now we could see, I have a full sanitary system using 4 different plumbing fixtures, along with proper connection points, proper pipe types, proper pipe sizes. And any additional modification that can be done to these groups within it, and also tagging them moving forward. So in the project browser, we do see a large list of groups already created depending on the situation. So again, from fixture assemblies, kitchen equipment, I keep working the way down. You also have restroom assembly options. So again, for the plumbing side, we have the predefined groups that can be created, utilized, modified, and then placed within your projects. So a lot of the stuff inside of the pack, it already has been created for you, ready for it to use, and all you're just doing is designing and drafting moving forward. As we can see here, just from even the plumbing working plan view, I still see ducting, but again, it is faint in the background. So this is another way that work sets are being utilized within your view templates, and then specified to a specific type of view, you'll start to have those items in place. Looking at your project, you go to a 3D view. So by having the project here, as previously mentioned, there are many different view templates that can be used and applied. Utilizing a 3D view, if I quickly just want to see my risers within my project, or just the domestic risers, I can turn that on and I can start to see my whole domestic system. There are my plumbing fixtures. There is the water heaters. So this view template is specifically driving for the domestic water. Other types of systems, we could always start to specify to be for ducting. And now we can see all the ducting that has been driven within your project. Changing these views over here. If we want to see the heating water, start to see now that whole system. So in the end, what the productivity pack is, it is a project / template file, but along with all the content that's part of it, that has been created and designed for the ease of workflow of creating a project from the mechanical to the electrical. All of your views have been set up and created. Many view templates have been already created for you. So you just apply them to a specific type of view, and graphically they start to show as they should. Within those views, schedules. So again, from all the different content and families that you're using, schedules are already being driven from the modeled items being placed in, but then also designing from the schedules back to the modeled items. The families that are inside of the content pack are loaded in with a lot of great information and parameters and calculated values. So again, selecting a VAV unit as an example, here we can see many different types of parameters that have been added to use for the system itself. And again, a lot of industry standard parameters and naming conventions have been created for the ease of the project. So with those views and schedules, you do also have those predefined sheets. And again, a large combination of all the content already there for you that has been created, tested, and verified, and then being used within your firm. So are there any questions? I don't see any questions right now. So that was just a quick overview of what we have within the MEPP3, or the Mechanical Electrical Plumbing Productivity Pack. So again, we got 5 minutes or so, so we'll kind of keep that open for any questions that someone may have. So right now there are no other questions that I could see, but here's my contact information. You can reach me out at my email or as we have the phone number. So I don't see any more questions here. So I'd like to thank everyone again for being a part of the webinar. If there are any other questions in regards to the MEP3 pack, as we just saw over here, please feel free to